Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Lyra and Lily with Angela. So, in today's episode, I'm going to be discussing, my complex and confusing relationship with my birth mother. Now, ironically, I want to start off by prefacing this, is that I understand why this used to be like a diary for me. It was a place. My podcast was a place where I could speak about the things I was going through. Because ironically, it's kind of backwards because for some reason, I know the reason. I can't write in a journal. I can't write my emotions down. I dealt with my adopted mother, like, taking my journal, and anytime I wrote anything down, and I was told it was a safe place where I could vent my emotions, and of course, I was angry at that time, or just sad and all this stuff, and I really had my privacy invaded when it came to writing in a journal, and among other things, my privacy was invaded in other ways throughout my life that have really honestly made it almost impossible to write a written record of what's going on inside of me. My truest, deepest emotions, I guess you could say. However, my podcast was always something that I found comfort in, and it was a place that, I could share those things, and I didn't feel judged, I have a TikTok now. I've had it since I moved here in October back to my hometown, and that one, I'm just starting to, get my confidence up, I guess you could say, with actually recording. See, when I sit here with you guys right now and I'm recording this, I'm just sitting here in my pajamas, I got some bedhead, my place, I have my little notebook that I was actually going to try writing in today, and I found something I wrote January 22nd, 2023, so that was just the beginning of this year, and it's been a roller coaster, and to read it, which I will be reading it to you guys, reminds me of a letter I wrote to my ex, the one I was with from the longest relationship I've had, with the one who used to lock me in his room and stuff. In the beginning of that relationship, it's kind of sad that I'm making this connection, but it's important to, recognize it. And but I wrote a letter to him 6 months in, and it was kind of very similar to what I wrote to myself, as what I wrote in January was addressed to myself. Now, a little preface. So I have always struggled with memory. It's a blessing and a curse. However, since reconnecting with my birth mother, I reconnected with her in November of 2022, and we're still talking, but it's up and down, but that's what I'm hoping to talk about here today, because this is how I process things. So it was a few months ago. I'm not sure exactly how many, but I requested my file from the Freedom of Information Act here in Canada. If you're a former youth in care, if you were in the ministry, you can request your file. So now I was expecting a tiny little file, right? They said 1,000 pages, approximately. So, when I was talking to the lady while I was waiting for it, it took 3 years to get here. I applied for it in November of 2019, and like I said, I just received it a few months ago. It's over 3,000 pages long. It literally came in a box, and I was connecting with my birth mom at the time, and I told her that it's here, and I went to pick it up before I went to see her, right? Because, I knew some bad stuff happened to me as a kid, but I didn't know, her reaction was, a little off, and things started to change a little bit. And so I read the file. Well, there was, of course, like, a big blow up that happened and stuff between me and her, and just, like, it just wasn't good. But, so I took a week off, and in that week, I went through and I skimmed as much as I could handle of the documents. Actually, I'm writing a book with it, so I have it all separated into years and stuff like that, and I actually had to put it away because I need a better support system. I need someone to be there with me as I go through it. I could do it all by myself, but it took me a really long time to be okay, and I need to be okay when I'm doing this because it's important. So I found out a lot of stuff, like, when I was a kid, right? And one of the things is I was under the assumption that I was only removed when I was approximately 2 years old. However, I was removed at 6 months old due to unfit conditions and her not being there. She was even quoted saying that she wasn't going to change her lifestyle because I existed. However, this is a thing where it's really confusing and complexing. So me and her, we just, it was just our birthday. So my birthday was April 23rd. Hers was April 29th. My birthday I spent with her and some other people, and they did a good job. However, things tanked on my actual birthday day. I'm glad we kind of celebrated the day before. My grandma went crazy. Shit started happening in my mom's friend's life and all that kind of stuff. And then, and it's just difficult too, right? And then her birthday came and passed, and then we just hung out just like a few days ago. And I came and saw her, and she had this, like, we camped basically outside for a day. I thought it was kind of cool, I was kind of bonding. The day before, actually, my grandmother got really verbally abusive with me, and so I finally stood up to her. I actually used her full name, but I kept very quiet, actually, throughout the whole interaction. She was mainly going after my mom, and they were going after each other, basically. Like, it's just super toxic, and confusing and complexing, but, I did say one thing. Like, it wasn't that I didn't say anything, I was just very, very careful with what I did say. So I remember the one thing that really stood out to me is I was like, I don't know how I'm related to you, Like, oh, yes, no, I remember a little bit more. She was saying some really horrible, evil things. Even my mom said she's evil. And, so basically me and my mom, I guess, kind of bonded over that. And then the next day, I went to see my mom, and she was basically, my grandmother was jumping down our throats again, and that's when I used her full name. And I basically spoke some really hard, cold truth to her, and finally some other people spoke up and, like, stood up to her, and I was like, for a second there, even my mom, like, stood up to her a bit more, and I was like, wow, like, because, like, it's hard to stand up when, especially, it's confusing and complexing with my mom, because we have a relationship, but my grandma's also really, like, toxic, and my mom's slightly toxic. She's definitely toxic with, not gonna lie, but, like, so, like, she doesn't want to, like, even, like, she doesn't want to go back, right? Like, she doesn't want to know what she did, she doesn't want to know. It's too much for her, whereas during that week away, when I came back, I tried to smooth things over, and the next fight we got into, where I told her, I was like, I learned all of this stuff, and I still came back and I gave it a shot. I was still willing to move past it, but she wasn't, and she was still taking it out on me, you know, because she drinks, and, you know, I would drink with her. I'm 26, you know, so it would start off as, like, you know, like, kind of nice, relaxing, and then she'd drink a lot, and then get really drunk and emotional, and just bring up all this shit, and then just come after you, and just shitty, you know, verbally. And I told her, like, I was like, you know what, you liked it when I didn't know. You know, I built this relationship with you. I haven't known her for the majority of my life, right? There's been less than 10 years that she's actually been in my actual life, and I'm 26. You know, so because of my memory problems, you know, I had these really confusing moments when I reconnected with her, because, you know, I was going through severe attachment issues, right? Just like she'd hug me when I first got back together with her, and then she wouldn't hug me, or she'd talk nicely to me, and then all of a sudden she's not talking nicely to me, she's stonewalling me, she's texting me yup, you know, like all this stuff, just being really disrespectful, right? And you know, I haven't been the best either, but I've always, you know, like, tried to own up for my actions, and, you know, make better actions to prove that, you know, not only to myself but her, like, you know, that I'm maturing, like, you know, like, I take everything as a life lesson, and I'm willing to learn. But yeah, she holds grudges just like my grandmother, and I want her in my life, I really do, and I'm still trying, which really sucks because everyone keeps telling me I shouldn't. I've been reconnected with a family friend who was friends with my foster mom who passed away, and she's such a lovely lady, and she's so much like me in the sense of, like, just the kindness, and, like, how we didn't let life get to the point where we took it out on others. Like, we tried to stop the cycle of abuse within our own lives with interacting with anybody. Probably a little bit too much. We both have that in common, but we're both working on it, you know, and it's been years since I've seen her, and she's really opened my eyes to how much I really don't deserve the way I'm being treated, you know, and it's difficult because I have these loyalties to my mom, and not even my grandma. Like, that's why it was a little bit easier to kind of put her in her place the other day, was because I don't have that strong bond, right? But long story short, that's the confusing chaos of my relationship with my birth mother. And there's so much more, and I can't articulate it all in this very episode, as I will continue to understand and make decisions. It feels like a toxic relationship, you know, like you know, I've learned so much about, like, narcissists and, you know, empaths and all that shit, and all this stuff about unhealthy relationships and the trauma bonds and all this stuff. And you know what? I've been in at least 4 really severely abusive relationships with men. One locked me in his room, among other stuff. Like, it was really bad. Like, another one, you know, I'm not gonna get into all that right now. However, what I'm saying is, you know, it's a lot easier to take those things that I've learned and apply it to a relationship, right? It's different. It's so much more different when it's not family. You know, even my adopted parents, we never really had a bond, and they were never biologically me, right? But there's something about blood and DNA, even with my grandma. Like, it's so hard because of my memory. You know, it's hard to remember all the shit they put you through. And so, like, me and my mom were going through, like, what's called the honeymoon phase, like, just a few days ago. And already it's starting to tank. And it's been, like, 2 days. Like, you know, like, we go through these phases where I feel like she gives a shit about me, and that I matter and that she loves me and that she wants to spend time with me and that she's happy for me. And then there's bigger portions of, I think she loves me. I don't really know. Like, I don't know. It's hard because, it's difficult, right? When someone treats you, just even the way they talk to you, If she wasn't my mom, I wouldn't let her talk to me, or I would have been long time ago, But it's hard because it's like the biggest trauma bond in the world. And one of the things that was really healing about getting my file was I got to understand where my attachment problems came from, especially with her, and also where my nightmares started at like 8 years old, and just all this stuff, she'd say she was gonna show up, and then she'd never show up, right? Like, and then she'd say she was gonna call us when she got home, and she didn't call, and then I thought she died, like, as a little kid. And, like, there was this one time, like, I literally almost had to be brought to the hospital to be sedated because I was so terrified that she had died. Like, that was all before I was 9 years old, right? 9, 10, when my foster mother passed away. I got to read all the case notes, right? I got to see all the times my mom said she was going to show up and didn't. She literally hitchhiked 4 hours, like a 4 hours drive away, just to show up and be there for 45 minutes, Like, you took all the effort and you only stayed that long, like, and it's difficult because I know she's ashamed of her past and she's not happy of where her life has been. But it's not fair for me to be the brunt of it, right? Because, I know she didn't want, I know she never wanted me, she never did. And it's clear in the documents that, yeah, she fought a little bit, but then she was back and forth about if she could give us a relationship, like the support that we needed. And then when my youngest sister was born, then she went all gung-ho, right? So, like, it's just hard to hear her side of the story and then read the other side, right? Because that other side is what I experienced, and I didn't know that, and I didn't remember, and I couldn't understand why I had all these really confusing, complexing feelings and struggles with, seeing her or not seeing her, or her talking really rudely, like, it's just, like, all these things, and then, I'll be talking about my story that doesn't even include her in front of her, and then she'll, like, throw something in that's, like a snide remark or something, and it's just really shitty, because, and even just the other day, she's like, you don't owe me your love, right? And in my mind, I'm like, you're my mom, like, I love you, like, it's not something that, I can see that you feel that way with your mom, and you're just projecting that onto me, and you're treating me in similar ways. Like, it's really difficult, because I've literally experienced with her since I moved back here, her and my grandma going at it, and my grandma treating her really disrespectful, telling her to shut up, and all this stuff, like little hand movements, the talking hand and the hand that closes and pointing in your face. And then I literally had her just hours later turn around and do the exact same thing to me, and I've just let that slide, because she's my mom, and I hate it. I fucking hate it, and I'm at this point where I was lonely. I'm not gonna lie. After that week I took, I hadn't had any human, like, connection. Like, maybe I said hi to someone walking past them or something, but I hadn't actually gotten to sit in the same room as someone and just hang out. Like, that's another thing. I spent so much time in isolation from such a young age, including an infant, that, like, it's really hard on me to go from having people in my life, because I made some friends through my mom that I've known for about 5 months, 5-6 months, and then you lose everybody, and then you don't have anyone to hang out with. And I did try to make friends, but, like, it's difficult, right? Because it was a winter season, my house flooded. I had to get my floor fixed, but that's done. That was actually a really nice birthday present. But, like, it's been really hard and chaotic, but, and then I had to wait, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months for my ex to send me get my stuff from the West Coast, and he didn't give me my bag with my documents, which is like tax papers and, my banking documents. It's got my social insurance number and all this bullshit, and I didn't get it back, and there was no way for me to get it back. The cops wouldn't do anything about it, and, there's just been so much that's gone on in such a short amount of time, but I'm finally comfortable. Like, I got my computer back, thank God, and, it had all these old podcast episodes, so I started, like, posting. I know it's been a little wonky since I got my computer back. It's, as you can tell, there's been a lot going on. I got a job down here, for the summer, down at the beach, and, I'm excited. I'm really excited, and I just, I know I can't let myself get distracted, because every springtime I feel like I'm given this opportunity to, take these different opportunities that are handed to me and do something with them. And this year feels really important. Like, so this job down at the beach, like, I'm really excited for it. And the lady that did my interview, she was really awesome. And I asked her, I was like, is there any questions you have for me? And she asked me about my crochet business. And I actually got a bunch of yarn and stuff and art supplies for my birthday, so I'm really happy. I've been in, like, creation mode, and so I'm excited because I hope with this job, like, maybe potentially I could sell, my purses down there as well, because she sells her own art. But yeah, like, it's these different things that are coming up. Like, so with my book, I was gonna write, I have it all planned out, but it's way too much. Way too much. I've already got so much going on, and I actually have an x-ray tomorrow for my rib, so that'll be exciting. But now, on to the inspiration for this podcast. So I wrote, Growth Epiphany, Reed is struggling, 10:40 p.m., January 22nd, 2023. You got this, future me. Love, Angela Joy. When I'm with my mom, I feel very connected. When we go anywhere, I'm always running after her like a baby bear. She's my mom. Everything in me craves her. I did not receive the proper care as a child, and I developed a strangled connection to my mom. After everything, I've gone back hoping for growth, the opportunity to stabilize and allow our bond to deepen and breathe. However, I have to acknowledge that this is not possible. I am currently going through the separation anxiety that comes from leaving her. But I need to save myself because I'm old enough to be a mama bear. It's shitty, but it's growth. I wish her the best. So, I guess, like, when I was writing this, I was, thinking about it and, like, kids and stuff, and I'm like, I'm 26 as of now. I was 25 when I wrote that, because my birthday is in April, and that was January. But, one of the things with the complications of what I've been dealing with her is because all of those years she wasn't there to be a part of creating who I was and a part of making me who I am. You know, she didn't have her say, right? Because she wasn't there to parent me. You know, I learned who I was from a wide variety of different situations, you know, and I don't think like her or my grandma because I didn't grow up with them. And so I really dealt with this huge power struggle of I'm a woman now. I know I'm 26, but like I am a woman. You can't treat me like a child. You can't restrict me. You can't try to control my life. You can't control who I see, who I date. Like, that's long gone. If you wanted to be a part of that, you should have been there when I was a kid and a teenager. But I'm glad she wasn't, honestly. As sad as initially as that sounds, I'm glad I wasn't. Because I had the opportunity to experience something different and form my own opinions and my own personality. And from that, you know, I'm a different person, and I'm glad. You know, I do look like my mom, you know, physically a little bit. And that's really the only thing that, like, I mean, yes, there's parts of myself, but then there's this other thing too, is like, you know, I'll show my mom a part of my personality, right? Like, or she'll just see me acting a certain way, and then I'm noticing her doing the same thing just a while later, you know? I haven't put too much thought to it, but, like, I don't like that. I really don't. So it's one thing that I've been kind of paying attention to. And it looks like I will be recording more podcast episodes because I think it's time for me to have an outlet because I'm ready and I'm welcome. I love that you guys are here, and welcome to the Lyra and Lily podcast. Now, if you would like to follow me on TikTok, my TikTok is Lyran Lily. I think it's 23. Let's see. Let's see. TikTok. Okay, log into TikTok. Okay.
I guess we should just start accepting multiple part readings from A.
Sorry. That's just someone I follow on TikTok. So my TikTok is Lyran Lily. Now it should be in my link tree. I will have to go back and go through my link tree and make sure all the links are great, but that's where I've been mainly posting. I've done some music, I've done a tarot reading on there, I've read a poem, you know, like, I just, I've just been really working on myself and my business. I am on Instagram as well. I'm pretty sure Instagram is LyranLily23. Yes, it is. Yeah, so it's LyranLily23 on Instagram. I'm on there as well. I don't really post much on Instagram very much anymore. I've been more doing TikTok. But yeah, that might change too. I'm still figuring it out. After I did do the move from, you know, where I was to where I am now, the physical move to my hometown, a lot of things have changed about me and what I've been doing and where I've been taking my life. So I haven't really been on Instagram. I don't even like Facebook anymore. I still have it. I literally have my grandma and my dad as my friend on there. Like my grandma on my dad's side. But yeah, like, that's just who I am. Like, I'm very picky and particular, so. But yeah, I'm excited. Thank you guys all, and I hope you all have a great day.